right, good evening, welcome. It's 9 days into the holy month. We say Ramadan Kareem. Welcome. This is the last edition of Journalist Hangout for the week. I'm Citizen Jones. Today on the program, Presidency explains why former President Olusegun Obasanjo is angry. Professor Shoyinka urges federal government to seek foreign assistance to end killings, just as 6 people die in the Taraba herdsmen-farmers clash. Shekarau others granted bail in 950 million naira fraud case, just as police dispersed supporters with tear gas and bullets. Later on, we'll share this with you. Court nullifies Jibrin's suspension by the House of Reps. Okay, I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Jide, I greet you. Welcome.
I greet you.
Charles Ideho is here. Charles, I greet you.
I greet
haven't
you too.
seen you in a while.
Yes, right. Thank
And I have not seen Shola Oyefusi in a long while.
Ojewusi.
Ojewusi. Here we go again. Okay, the team is ready. I hope you are. All right then, the season of cross-country quarrels is hotting up, and therefore a quarrel between our past and our present threatens our collective future. That former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the incumbent helmsman Muhammadu Buhari are tiffing over yesterday is hardly a front-page news anymore. Not wanting to take its own side in the squabble, the presidency has explained what it believes is belly-aching former President Obasanjo. The personal assistant to the president on social media, Loretta Onoche, has let it be known that the former president is angry because her principal, that's President Buhari, is fixing the power Obasanjo failed to fix after collecting $16 billion from the Nigerian treasury. So the cross-country brouhaha will continue with Jide.
That is the choice of the presidency, but I thought the way the presidency dealt with the matter of Fayose was the way they would have dealt with this matter, because Obasanjo is better handled just ignoring him. It will pain him to no end if you
ignore him.
You see, but when you want to be exchanging words with him, he gets really excited. That is what makes him happy. It's unfortunate that the president and his advisors don't seem to realize that. But that is the truth. We are talking about someone who has left office but does not believe that any other person is capable of doing the job. Even Shagari that he installed, he fought. If you read Shagari's book, you will see Shagari complaining bitterly about how Obasanjo was always criticizing him. There is no anybody who has been president of Nigeria after him. Obasanjo has criticized. And we cannot say in all honesty that all of the leaders
You're not saying it is in his character so to do.
It is in its nature to do that. And we've had other leaders who have left the vortex of power and have allowed other people who came after them to have their day in the sun. But Obasanjo wants to be in the spotlight all the time. He wants world leaders to see him as the best leader to ever come out of Nigeria. And in everything he says, he wants to put it right there in your face. That, look, I am better than you. You didn't do it this way. Because I've seen quite a lot of things that Obasanjo didn't do that some governments after him did. For example, I've told people that, look, in terms of foreign direct investment, Jonathan attracted much more foreign direct investment than Obasanjo. And Jonathan did roads more than Obasanjo. This is something that I can prove. The last time we were here talking about this matter, I mentioned bridges that Jonathan did in Kano. The longest bridge in Kano, it was Jonathan that did it. Even the Western bypass that Abacha started, Jonathan completed it. So no matter what we say about the man, that, oh, Jonathan, yes, he ran a government that literally legalized corruption, but we must give him credit where we need to give him.
Yeah.
That is the nature of decent people.
Okay.
So, but Obasanjo does not want to believe that any other person can run Nigeria as he ran Nigeria. I don't want to say as well as he ran Nigeria, as he ran Nigeria. And that is wrong. And once we've realized that this is his nature, in my view, the best thing for him is to just ignore him and get on with your work.
But this is not without prejudice to his right to free expression.
No, it is not. Yes, he has the right, but he does that with the intention of undermining those in power and trying to get that message across that, look, this person is not better than me.
Charles, the incumbent, through his spokesperson, is telling us that former President Obasanjo is tiffing him, you know, because the current president wants to fix power, which he didn't. And just before we came on, I talked about power, how if we got up to 15, 16, 20 hours, if it is not too much, of electricity, perhaps the APC and Buhari wouldn't have come.
Yeah, you're quite correct.
They won't need to campaign.
The campaign would have been a lot
people
less.
would have been okay with power, and then the jobs would have been there. The informal sector, everybody would have been busy, you know, flood of activities.
Companies would not have moved.
Yeah, companies would have moved. Most of them would have been closed, and then churches taking over some of the factories and so on.
Even students were enjoying.
Of course. So,
most schools, by 10, 11 p.m., they put off the generator.
Exactly. Then perhaps, too, the private schools also would have come because, you know, it's the issue of...
And the industries that are dead in Chalawa and other industrial layouts will probably still be alive.
Even the one in Ilasa. Ilasa was the hub of textile industry.
Yes.
That also today is...
where you had Aswani,
5-star, rest of the... And even in Kano, you also had them. Even in Abba Tech or something.
They are dead.
So they are there because we had a government in place that had the opportunity to write its name in gold, but frittered it because of insensitivity, because of also profligacy.
Jide has talked about fairness. Let's be fair to Obasanjo, but he started it late. The power plants he started.
Yeah, but again, okay, I think you had about seven national integrated power projects across Nigeria. You also have 18 gas turbines here and there that would have boosted a power supply in Nigeria. If, for instance, those contracts were executed to the letter, as you have said. But I wouldn't want to start going to whether the proprietor or that was what Loretta Onoche said, because she's also a journalist who I have known for quite some time. But what I want to say this evening is that I think we have an ample opportunity to set the record straight for the very first time. Whether indeed is it 16 billion that was wasted, how much exactly, and then what went down? Or six. Or even the 13.5 that Bankole Jimedi, who the report of the Lumini was submitted to.
Yeah.
Is it 13.5? Is it the 13.278 that the Luminous report submitted? Undidi. Okay. Or is it the 10 billion? Obasanjo says $10 billion that was budgeted, but what they spent was 3.7 billion. Then they kept the $6 into an escrow account in Central Bank. So we need to set the record straight, because most of the people the players, the dramatic partners, so to speak, are still alive. You see, had the General Shomolu, who was the secretary of the NIPP, still alive.
Yes. He was the one who corrected Yaradua that they didn't spend 10 billion.
They didn't spend 10 billion. It was even
Yaradua's claim at that time was that 10 billion was invested, but that the results had not gone to.
But then they said no, it's only
3.7. Some of the Nigerian newspapers now misquoted Yaradua by saying wasted. No, so by saying he said 10 billion wasted. But his exact words
was 10 billion invested. So we need to correct all these things right now, so that all this banding of figures here and there.
No, but the thing is,
people and demonizing people.
The thing is, Nigerians, we need to improve in terms of history.
And information too.
This matter was laid to rest in 2010.
And 10.
So the matter, there is nothing like 16 billion spent anywhere. And there's nothing like Obasanjo bragging about spending 16 billion, which the president said. So 16 billion was not spent.
Was not spent.
Dimeji Bankole invented the extra 6 billion.
6 billion, yes.
But the investigation launched by Yaradua himself.
Say it was 10 billion.
Discovered that the actual amount spent was 6.5 billion.
Oh, no, 3.1 billion, 6.5 billion was kept in an escrow account. That's also there.
As far as I'm concerned.
So we need to clear this.
As far as I'm concerned, first and foremost, I expected the presidency to have followed that same dignified response initially when Obasanjo came.
You know, that thread.
Yes,
exactly.
Because it brought some light into the maturity of the presidency then. But I think the thesis, whatever it is, that the presidency is going to bring is leading to another antithesis. Let me give you an example. This morning, we had a group discussion on this power issue. Some people were of the opinion.
Who are they?
We, a group of friends. Sorry, a group of friends. And the main issue is, in spite of all this rabble-rousing or whatever that's coming from both sides, the presidency, the Obasanjo side, common Nigerians have still not been able to enjoy serious electricity supply. Now, rather than be exchanging words with Obasanjo, I think Loretta, to me, is playing the incendiary. She should have allowed, as a journalist, you know, it's my opinion, she should have allowed the thing go that way because, like Jide rightly said, Obasanjo is looking for, you know, it's like a kind of, like they say, the Bole Kaja approach.
You could have been in her shoes.
Yes.
And
of course, as
could have been asked.
Yeah. I think it's better for us to face the issue. The figure, right? You're right, Charles. Let us know the real figure. Let the presidency be sincere. Let us not play politics with what has become a national sore. People should be able to know what is actually going on about this part because people are angry.
Yeah,
if you go around, the people are not enjoying anything.
Quickly, I'm told by the backroom boys we must take this, bury this. Yeah. But in burying it, Jide, I want you to look at the constant quarrel between our past and our present, which jeopardizes our future.
It is. It's a fact, really. But I think that a little more maturity will put an end to all of these things. People like Obasanjo who continue to attack presidents that have been fortunate to come after them, they have access to these people. It is when you have been denied access that it can really be justifiable for you to stand on the rooftop and be attacking people in power. Because by your privileged position, and we saw what happened in Ethiopia, even after that letter, you saw Obasanjo with Abdul Salami. Abdul Salami. And you have access. So it's like playing to the gallery. When you now write a letter attacking, look at you installed Jonathan. Everyone knows that you installed Jonathan. And you had unfettered access to him. Yet you still went out to write a letter against this man.
More like your houseboy.
Yes.
Quarreling, telling people, I know if it see Oga. If you understand what I mean. All right, then, I hear we must move on, but then, still to come, Soyinka urges federal government to seek foreign assistance to end the killings, just as 6 people are reportedly killed in the Taraba herdsmen farmers clash. Please stay tuned. All right, moving on. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka is not given to verbose language, and that is why he shoots from the hips. The mindless killings in parts of the country, to him, in a manner of speaking, should move, make the man in many of us die as well. The professor believes it's time government and Nigerians woke up and stopped ongoing killings and not treat them like the ringworm. Whereas it's a cancer. Hear him. I don't believe in false pride. If the government cannot cope, it should shy away from asking. It should not shy away from asking for international help. This is the Kongi that we know.
Yes. Any decent Nigerian should be worried about the way our people are being killed. Bandits in Gwari are running riots. They are not just cattle rustlers now. They are also into kidnapping. And the highways are no longer safe. The Gwari Funtua highway is not safe. And the forest that runs through 5 states, Niger, Kaduna, Zamfara, Pastor Kebbi, and Katsina, they are not safe. So these guys now see that forest as the place to stay and be doing what they like. So the killings, when we talk about the killings in Benue, we must remember that even in Gwari, more people are being killed.
Yeah.
Because the bandits in Gwari are extremely wicked. They show no mercy. Bandits who will come to your house and in your presence take away your women.
Imagine that.
How do you describe such people?
Not ideological bandits.
The governor of Kaduna State was saying on BBC Hausa Service.
Sorry, did you hear that? Huh? Commercial bandits.
Yes,
that's what ideological.
No, those ones are. They are doing it for the money. They are doing it for the money. It has nothing to do with religion. You know, and they are not sparing people of their own ethnic group.
Yes.
You know, so the governor of Kaduna State said recently that the crisis in Gwari was being overblown by the media. This is where sometimes I ask myself that what more can the Nigerian journalists do? If we do not highlight what's going on in Gwari, they will say, oh, it's because they are northerners. It's only what affects the southwest that people write about. Every day we choose to talk about this matter because it is happening. The other day, 87 passengers were kidnapped on the Gwari highway. But they are now saying that, oh, it's the media who is overhyping it. Do they expect us to keep quiet? The Minister of Defense is from Zamfara State. He can't stop the killings in his state.
Home state.
The lawmakers in the state are now writing to the minister that the minister should do something. After these guys went to the home of a commissioner and took away the wife and children, about six children.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it has been a consistent pattern of violent combustions in those 2 states. So we cannot keep quiet. We must keep talking about it. And if we need help, as Soyinka has said, then we must ask for help. But before we ask for help, we must look within. We have civil defense. We have other security agencies. In difficult times, such people in other lands are deployed. They are given military training.
That's it.
So that, did it not happen during the Civil War? They are given military training so that they can complement the efforts of the army and the police.
Charles, here, Professor Soyinka, the killings are indicative of an ethnic cleansing. The act is barbaric. The governor is saying it's the return of jihad. Statements like this, aren't they tendentious?
But the thing is, I think if we're not careful, let me go the way of Obayabo. It's just a conflagration that's waiting to happen, honestly, because even the military, as we speak now, been overstretched. But in the heart of all this, Jones, there are people placed, highly placed that are benefiting from it, whether you like it or not. And as far as the pockets of those people are being lined every day, every week, every month, they will never, underline that, never do anything that will bring about this stop to it.
But quickly, don't sidetrack the statements. Professor Soyinka, ethnic cleansing.
That's what I'm going to.
Okay, the governor.
Yes.
A return of
jihad. Well, but when you look at it now, because when you look at the way it's being done, they move into, for instance, in Jos. You remember what happened in Plateau? They will move to Biron area and so on, and they kill all of them. Yeah. And then they will also occupy the place. Yeah. They go into Tiv, and then wage war against Tiv and Idoma. So it does seem as if what the man talking about ethnic cleansing will not be far from it. So that's why the government must do everything possible to now douse this tension and also correct the pressure. Because if right information is scarce, speculation will rife. And that's exactly very dangerous for our system.
I've just heard Professor Soyinka is a no-mean figure when it comes to facts or issues like this. And it does not just come out to make statements. It must have been well thought out. I mean, that's basic. Don't forget that when the president was in the UK, he mentioned the fact that those who were doing the Benue killings were just beyond herdsmen. That maybe some people trained in Libya. If you were trained in Libya, you were trained to perform a kind of jihad. And if you look at what happened later, it has gone beyond killing farmers. People had to go to churches to kill priests. There is a religion undertone coming in. And when Soyinka speaks that way, I think we should listen. Let me tell you, to borrow from Soyinka's word, maybe to paraphrase, what is happening in Benue, in Biningari, all over Nigeria, all these killings, is really becoming an open sore for the country. It's something that is festering every day. It's not only affecting our image as a nation. So whether the presidency likes it or not, it is a very important fact that must be handled with seriousness now. Whether you understand what Soyinka is saying or not, but the fact remains that people are dying every day out there.
Needlessly.
And it's becoming a problem for the country. So, I mean, it's an indictment. What Soyinka said to me is an indictment that you have failed in handling this. And as a result, look for help elsewhere. He mentioned that we have helped other countries.
Yes.
We've gone to Liberia, we've gone to Sierra Leone, ECOMOG and all those stuff. Be free to ask them to also come and reciprocate what we did for them. So I think the government, they have to know.
There's no shame. By people, people would say, if you get hernia, tell your neighbor.
Yes.
You never can tell.
Yes.
No, it's not laughing matter. No, Jide.
Expose himself. You know, the problem is where hernia is actually located. That's not where you want to find it.
It's all right. But still quoting Professor Wole Soyinka, the killers are sponsored by desperate politicians because of their selfish motives. Have we interrogated this? And he has taken us to Rwanda and wondering why we can't take heed.
That the killings are sponsored by politicians.
Desperate politicians.
Honestly.
Well, you want to believe what Shola said?
I don't
That's
agree.
debatable.
I agree with the president when he said that these conflicts are of economic nature. The herdsman is looking for grazing area. Climate change has done serious damage.
Is that a factor
to
consider in all this?
It is a factor.
Climate change.
And yes, climate change. And that's why you see where the two most fertile states in Nigeria are Benue and Taraba.
Okay.
That's why these killings are almost even localized in those two states. And even in Benue, the killings are concentrated in two local governments.
Perhaps the two most fertile.
In terms of vegetation.
Someone was telling me that in Guma, for example, that there are places where since creation, nobody has cultivated.
The greenery.
So they will target the Benue Valley, knowing that it is lush green, it is fertile. When some of us, when we travel to Benue, we want to bring their...
the yams and the oranges.
The oranges, you want to come and plant the oranges. I want to plant the mango here. Because it doesn't need to be tall before it bears fruit.
And it's exactly.
Those two states are blessed. You go to Taraba, there's nothing they grow in Benue that they don't grow in Taraba. Taraba even still has things, crops that they can grow that the Benue people can grow, like tea.
Benue and for example, are telling us how wicked we are in preserving what we have. You see, fruits.
They grow just naturally.
Why not? You go to Benue, there is no processing.
No processing, nothing. I've been there.
You know?
Yes.
So how all the oranges, a lot of the oranges rot away on the trees.
Yes.
Every year.
Out of 23 local governments.
Farmers can't evacuate some of their produce because of bad roads and all that. So there are all kinds of problems. The headsman thinks that if he is not allowed to graze, that his business will be at risk. In the past, and in the past, they had access, there were grazing routes and all that. Politicians and other people have taken over these grazing routes, built houses on some of them. I remember this Emir of Kano was complaining, I think 2 years ago, that those who are allocating grazing routes to their colleagues, politicians, to build houses on, that they are sitting on the time bomb.
And this is the time bomb.
This is what we are saying. Because when the economic well-being of hundreds of thousands of people become endangered, whatever they can do to survive and ensure that members of their family survive, they will do. That's why they are going to those areas. And when they think we are going to deny them, then
they become violent.
They become violent and want to even take over that community totally. It didn't start today. Since 2012, I've been seeing herdsmen take over communities and chase away the residents in Benue.
All right.
In Way West and other areas.
Let's quickly take Adeshino. He's in Lagos here. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Uncle Jones.
I greet you. Yep.
Good evening to Babajide and the guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to quickly react to the herdsmen farmers conflict, especially the suggestion by Sonika urging to seek foreign assistance to end the killing. I want us to know that this country, all over the world, Nigeria is a country to reckon with globally. And looking at our precedents in the past, how Nigeria is the main factor that maintains and keeps peace in Liberia today. Americans recognize that. They knew what impact Nigeria made to make sure Liberia is enjoying peace they are enjoying today. And we have participated in very foreign countries, operations outside the country, in Somalia, in Yugoslavia, all over. And even America knows the quality of what we have.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that this issue of these bandits killing here and there, they are not spirit. It's an issue Nigeria can take headlong and keep
Thank you, Shino.
I want us to know that it takes the will. We just need to be more proactive to ensure that we can get this thing done.
Thank you.
Thank you very kindly. Charles,
yes.
There can, in spite of all this wahala, there can be a meeting point.
Yes, definitely.
Between the herdsmen and farmers.
And the host communities.
And in this case, the government.
That's right. But I think, minus politics, the people don't have any problem agreeing. I'm telling you this. Because what you need to ask is that even before now, how were they coexisting? Like in Benue State, for instance, Benue State has about 23 local government. I have visited about 14, no fewer than 14 of them. I went as far as to Adikpo. I'm sure if Benue people are listening, they will know how far-flung Adikpo is in the local government, very close to Cross River border.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so, but these people, they've coexisted for centuries. How were they doing it? How come all of a sudden that peaceful nature just got broken? So we need to trace our route back to where we missed it. And then let's also see that if anything happens to Nigeria, the losers will be all of us. The politicians will lose, just like Gabriel Kala in his Fisherman Invocation poem. He said, once there's war, all of us will be affected. So what we need to do, I think the government needs to not to pay lip service to this, to face the problem frontally and arrest the drift so that it will seem as if what we are having now, we just put it behind us. But with the government, just what Shoji is saying, will the government agree to invite foreign assistance? The answer is no. Because government will be proud to say no.
No, Charles.
Come you know these things. Charles, it's not likely. Okay. It is not likely. It is not likely.
Charles, no, I'm not asking you to change your position.
It's not likely the government will agree to that.
No, but I'm saying Professor Shoyinka mentioned this yesterday at Makurdi.
Yes.
Barely 24 hours. You don't think the government
is likely to accept any foreign assistance because of pride.
I'm not constrained to believe you.
Okay.
I'm not. It's my right.
But I'm entitled to it. Yeah?
No, you are.
I'm entitled, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think I'm a bit emotional about this thing, and I want to go back to what we were talking about as per, can these people really come together? Because the key to the problem.
I was going to say
yes.
the political class, Jide
Yes.
just told us,
Yes.
Sultan had warned. Warning who?
Well,
Politicians. They are key stakeholders
the
here.
lacuna rests on the politicians in the sense that we just said that these people have been existing for centuries. Let me be a bit historical. The Fulani, in dealing with people, by their culture, by their history, they have a code they call Pulako. That is code of coexistence. There are a lot of things involved, but coexistence is one of them. And when they move from one region to the other, I mean, tending the cattle, they have this way of referring to the people. To shape, just like we say Aboki in Hausa for me, friends. They have Sobajo. They call it Sobajo. They have that. To the extent some people along their route will call them Sobajo.
They have not lost that.
So that's what I want to now draw their attention. You know, you have to look at areas where you can create a common ground. Maybe you go into emotion, try to remind the Fulani that you've always seen these people as your friends. And also remind the locals that, okay, you have always accepted. It has been there. You know, we've never had this until these politicians started their shenanigans. Let me tell you, the idea of, I agree, it's commercial. But when it had to go to the level of being, killing people in the churches, you know, it's a way of creating more fire to expand it, and then for political reasons.
To me, it is not in the character of the Fulani to go out on a killing spree.
No,
given the
as
background,
a people,
you took me down.
Let me say this.
Historically, yeah.
As a people, I lived among the Fulanis for at least 4 years. I know the kind of relationship that I was in Yola for more than 4 years. Naturally, a normal Fulani man is inherently a good person because there is this work. But you know, along the line, we said it. Jide said it that when your lifestyle, your livelihood is threatened, you can go bonkers.
All right.
So I think it's that aspect that we have to look at. If the government is really serious, they will have a way of bringing these people on negotiation
because
table.
These problems are man-made.
Yes, and
man solve. Only man can solve them.
Yes, that's right. I agree.
Yes.
I agree with you.
These are not insurmountable.
And the buck
It's
stops on the president's table.
We just need to do much more than we are doing now to solve this problem. And we need to see ourselves as one people. The hate that is out there, I'm really worried.
It's terrible.
Look at over a mere damaged phone.
Okay.
Over a mere damaged phone. In Taraba, an ethnic group attacked the Fulani and began to kill them.
Did they
on Wednesday? So I mean, we shouldn't hate ourselves. We shouldn't hate ourselves.
To that extent.
All right, one quick word here. Keep your phone safely. Now, the war on corruption and its modus may not be agreeable to many people, but the government appears undeterred. High-profile arraignments, especially of former helmsmen in states across the country, seems to continue unabated. Former Kano Governor Ibrahim Shekarau, along with former Education Minister Ambassador Aminu Wali, plus ex-President Jonathan's campaign Director General, Engineer Mansour Ahmad, were granted bail, and scores of sympathizers got injured following policemen's throwing of tear gas and bullets, we hear, while dispersing them. We wait for the first high-profile conviction. Before then, Judy, how else does the police control a crowd if not use tear gas?
Sometimes
water.
The tear gas will not do. It depends on the
kind of crowd.
It depends on the kind of crowd that you are dealing with.
And what they are demanding.
You know, some are very, very violent. They are ready to even kill policemen if they get the opportunity. So sometimes you need to shoot into the air to disperse these people. And I'm sure once the police sense that they could be easily overpowered, you know, the man with a gun can actually put about 100 people in check. So once they saw that they could be overrun by these guys, they decided
especially because
to use
this
live bullets.
Crowd of supporters made to break into the court, and so on, because they were not sure, Charles.
Right. Yeah, well, of course, they also need to secure the life of the judges and the lawyers, the legal representation I'm talking about now. They also have the mandate to make sure that there's peace around the court, because it could also have a spillover into the cities. The lives of innocent people there, people who are going about their normal businesses and so on, also could be threatened. So the police has the constitutional responsibility to make sure that they quell every insurrection, which of course we seem to have. But my worry is, why would people be praising those who, of course, have dipped their hand into the coffers of the country?
Well, alleged.
Alleged, okay. Those who are alleged to have dipped their hands into the coffers of the country. I've just corrected that. So, but when we are saying that right now Nigeria is on its knee because of the flagrant abuse of power by so many people who were there, they had access to the funds that were supposed to have been meant to better the lives of people. Most of them, they allegedly frittered away. And then these people were now taken in. They were taken in, and then you now see people now applauding them.
Oh, yeah.
I think, so how did we end there? How did we end there?
Could be rented.
Whether rented or rented, okay, why should they allow themselves to be rented? Where's the morality? Where's the morality there?
We've been talking of the politicians.
Are you assuming that?
Just a minute.
Are you assuming that because they were accused of stealing, then they were guilty?
No, I'm not saying. No, it's not about guilty. So it's not about the guilt.
It's looking at the things.
Yes, they are not guilty yet. It's like someone comes now and says, you are a rapist, and I know that you cannot do such a thing because of your background. Until the court, even if the court says you are guilty, I will still want you to get to the final court or to the final court before I believe.
Well,
I guess that's how those
I would say that also, boils down to educating the
minds of the people, exactly.
You know, look at what we hear in the story. They were granted bail. It means they've been given their rights are still, given to them. Yeah. So the citizens should also know that this is just part of our constitution, part of our ways of life, that if somebody is suspected, I will use the word suspected to have done something wrong in the course of dispensing his duties, it should be made to account. You don't have any right as a citizen to go there and be demonstrating. Mind you, the people you are demonstrating to support, their children. If you try to number them, they're not there. And these people are ready to use live bullets against you. You lose your life because you are so stupid. I think it is stupidity that will make anybody. Let them go to court. Let them defend themselves. If they are guilty, so be it. If they are not, they go back home. So Nigerians should learn to allow due process to take
Charles, away from that, let's look at the war on corruption itself beyond these, theatrics. I'm saying, I'm waiting for the first big man or big woman conviction. And so you are talking now about the tools for fighting corruption. We have talked about the criminal justice system in this country. We talk about investigation, the first line, and so on. And like that. And
yes. So, but I think, first of all, the war, it does seem as if the government has become overwhelmed. So as we have it now, because of the people involved, because of the cases involved. So which is why I would, for the very first time, agree with those people, the proponents of special courts. Let's have special courts dedicated to this cause, so that even a magistrate court or high court that are dealing with other causes, we just be exempted from even hearing these cases. Because all these cases, you have them so many that even the courts even have become overwhelmed. That's why it seems as if nobody has become, So I also want to also look at it.
We forgot.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just, then again, the government, the security agencies or those charged with responsibility to also do in-depth investigation, because you can win or lose your case at the investigation stage. So there is this issue of rushing to want the government or the president to think we are working. Oh, let us please our master, let's please our principal. It makes them to lose at the investigation stage. That's why you have, even EFCC have lost so many cases. Many cases they ought to have won. So I think the agency responsible should also sit down and then rejig the system. They rejig their tools and their strategies so that we can have that big fish being brought in.
Jide, and there must be a word for the lawyer who takes juicy briefs and judges who get compromised.
Yes, it's one reason we are not making a headway in this war, because lawyers continue to make frivolous
Adjournments and
seek frivolous adjournments and all that, make applications that are meaningless, you know. So, and then of course, the goal of the ICJ is to ensure that cases are dispensed with as quick as possible. But judges are deliberately now even circumventing that. At least one of the judges has been punished by the NJC, was punished by the NJC recently, because the ICJ already stipulates how long you can hear a matter, you know, all in the desire to have us dispense with cases quickly. But you still have judges granting frivolous prayers and all that, also that the case can drag on and on until the litigants get fed up and say, look, let's settle out of court. You know? So, and some of those judges, some of those lawyers, as you see now, the EFCC has cases against some lawyers. Bribing judges here and there, you know,
compromising
the chief judge, the CJN gave a directive that judges should no longer write books while in office, because during their book launches, you find lawyers using the opportunity to donate to them, you know, donate heftily, you know,
and then the EFCC also will be sent to them.
At the end of the day, imagine a lawyer who has a case before a judge donating a hefty sum to the judge during his book launch. Won't the judge also repay him?
Also pay him back in some ways.
I agree with Charles that there should be special courts, but it still boils down to the orientation of the judge. There are special courts where they should be independent, because what is happening is that I don't really know if our judiciary is truly independent in Nigeria. So if you're going to have a special court that's not independent, that's still tied to the apron strings of some politicians somewhere, we are going back to square one. But if we are able to create
a special court is just to speed up.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes. Because but the quality of judges.
We also have there, you know. But are they not the same from the same pool of judges? We also get there.
So if they are minded to be corrupt,
maybe when they give a special court and then a special court and then
special court does not stop corruption.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we'll draw that to a close. But my advice is simply this. If the courts are independent, they must not be independent of the country. All right, then, the 1999 Constitution, as amended in Section 88, does not give the National Assembly the powers to suspend any of its members beyond a given period. This subject matter is still being contested across the country. The debate should be considered settled, and the moment a court of competent jurisdiction has pronounced on this. An Abuja division of the Federal High Court has quashed, I should say, the suspension of a member of the House of Reps, Abdul Mumin Jibrin. He was suspended for 180 legislative days for berating the Federal House on padding the 2016 budget. Again, the National Assembly has a preponderance of lawyers. And so if this is coming from them, it becomes trifling.
Because when politics takes the place of common sense, this is what happens. Politicians get emotional about little things. What Abdulmane Jibrin said at that time really angered Dogara and the other people around
and his supporters.
Supporters. If you even saw on the day they went to lock up his office, I'm like, why are these people behaving like this? You can imagine if they found him in the office that day, they would have rough handled him, because they chased away his staff, and then change the locks of his office. They wanted to physically enforce his suspension. And at that time, Femi Falana was saying, look, this suspension is illegal. You are not even respecting, you are not even abiding by the letters of your own law, your own rules that you created.
Talk less of the spirit.
But they went and forcibly chased those guys away and then locked the place up. No, the federal legislature has no right to deny Nigerians representation in the National Assembly. For example, the people of Kiru, Bebeji, where that Abdulmani represents, they've succeeded in denying them representation. They've muffled their voices for well over a year. And it's unfortunate that during this time, Abdulmumini went before the president couldn't help him. Abdulmumini petitioned the EFCC looked the other way. And the civil society organizations also didn't help Abdulmumini, Jibrin. So, which means that in future, people will be reluctant to go to the extent that Abdulmumini went. Because what is the point in fighting for people if when push comes to shove, then you are not certain that people will support you? That's what happened. Yes. And then after he apologized and then returned, we see a case of justice delayed. Because this judgment should have come earlier than this. If this judgment had come earlier than this, at least if it came as fast as that of the senator from Borno South, that Borno South senator, Aliu Ndume didn't have to apologize. Yeah. He won the case and he got back to the Senate. But in this case, his case went on and on and on, and when he thought that time was going, he had to eat the humble pie and apologize. After he apologized, you now deliver judgment. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Charles, on January 26 this year, 2018, the president signed a momentous bill into law, the Legislative House's Power and Privileges Act 2018. It grants members immunity from litigation on action taken at plenary or committee.
But there has been that rule, even standing rule in the House. Even as you speak, you and I have talked about it on radio. Yeah. Once there are certain things you say, why at plenary you are exonerated, you can't be questioned, you can't be sued. Those laws already exist. But the problem is that they don't activate it when it has to come against them. As we have found
if the president just did it, that law was not there.
No, what I'm saying is before now,
the law was not there.
Okay, no, but there was a similar one that you said when you are plenary, you cannot be questioned.
If you libel me now, if Senator Ndume, Aliu Ndume libels me now on the floor of the Senate. You know, during plenary.
You can't
I can't take action.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't
take action. So what I'm saying first is that what we need to be talking about now is that the National Assembly members, they are there to make laws for the good governance of Nigeria, number one.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
On paper.
Then number two, they also help us deepen our democratic experience, because most of them, there's no way they will be there forever. Those laws and everything they are doing now, they are for the future. Tomorrow, Shola Ojewusi might want to represent his village at National Assembly. So if they don't deepen the root of democracy, it will not help Jide and all of us.
You should start from his state.
And also Jide for Kogi.
Yeah, but gentlemen, yes. Earlier, before now...
Because I refuse to make Edo my state, have you? Okay.
First, it was Senator Aliu Ndume, and then we had Ovie Omoagege. And on each count, when the affected legislators went to court, the judgments are appealed. What does it tell you?
Well, I think they have a rules. It's said by, started by saying that most of the members many of them are lawyers. It's like they know these laws, but because of pecuniary or whatever, personal
Omoagege is a lawyer. He went to court, but the decision was appealed.
Message? You know what? I was at National Assembly the other time,
They said they were going to appeal Undumeso, but they changed their mind.
But they changed their mind.
I saw school children coming to watch, you know, from different schools, young, old, at the gallery, and watching these gentlemen and ladies making laws, but in the process, by their acts,
in the hallowed
supposedly so
what
too.
message are they passing to these young people?
Yeah.
He said it, they should look beyond the present to the future.
Yes.
We are talking of creating a system that works. But if you're going to flout your own rules for personal interest, then it becomes a problem. You're no longer lawmakers, you are lawbreakers.
Yes.
Your conscience should tell you that you are not helping the Nigerian nation.
Justice John Soho has said pointedly, no legislative house at the state or at the federal level has the powers to suspend an elected member.
Yes, beyond 14 days.
Beyond 14 days.
And there's
So
a
they are breaking the law.
You know, when they suspended Dino Melaye back then, during the
Gate.
he won. He defeated the Meji Bankole, the apostle of system. He defeated him, and they told them to pay him all the allowances and the salaries that they didn't pay him.
With this judgment now, would they pay?
You see?
Yeah, they just said they should pay him.
Interestingly, Dino, the Nigerian lawmaker who bears an Italian name, was the one who recommended, who even moved the motion for the suspended.
Dino. Is Dino.
No, is that how? Is that?
No, your Kogi noise is even for Yoruba.
From that place now. Why are you? You know, have you ever had anybody call him Dino?
Okay, Dino.
Someone that you don't know.
Melaye becomes Melaye. Is that also Italian?
No.
Okay, go on.
So, he was the one who moved the motion for this man's suspension. No? You, a victim of an illegal suspension.
Imagine that.
And you won in court. That's why I'm saying, I said that, look, they allow their emotions to take over. Because you should know that this is an illegal action. And someone like Bukola Saraki had an opportunity, you know, to cover himself in glory, because the governor of Borno State led other people to beg him to lift the suspension on Ndume. He said, no, we are not going to lift the suspension. That I didn't take the decision alone. At the end of the day, the court said, look, you had no reason, you were wrong in suspending this man. I just hope that in the next dispensation, this kind of needless suspensions and all that will not happen. I hope that lessons will have been learned by all of this.
Quickly, we take it home.
Yes.
But it tells you our law courts are in trouble.
That's right.
If their decisions can be flouted.
We have to strengthen our institutions and make, you know, they shouldn't be toothless bulldogs. They should be allowed to function and function well. And the lawmakers should know their responsibilities to the nation and to the justice system in Nigeria. If they don't do that, they're just...
good example.
Yeah, they're wasting time there.
All right, so that will just about do it for today. Judy, I thank you very kindly. You know, we call this a hangout. The beer must know it's a hangout.
Yes.
So whatever we do here, it's like the hallowed chambers. We are hanging out.
Yes.
So forgive some of our inanities. Let me thank Judy Kola De Otitoju for coming. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, I will.
And send you the bill.
Send the bills to us.
You can see I'm pointing to us.
Charles, there are many thanks
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Glad to be here.
Shola Ojewusi, please come again very soon.
My pleasure.
That's it. The program returns on Monday, but watch a repeat of this particular edition at 11 tonight, and also watch Journalist Hangouts on other platforms displayed on your TV. And you can get us on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channels remains the same. On behalf of the backroom boys upstairs, and this is yours sincerely, let's tell my Muslim brother and sister, please think the country before you break fast. Bye-bye now.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem.